Hello, my Richies, and welcome back to another episode of the Sunday Strategy Sessions here on the Make Life Rich Movement podcast. My name is Sara. I'm your host. And in today's episode, we are talking all about ways in which you can create thoughtful ritual practices within your life that help you to connect your mind, your body, and your spirit by deliberately stepping away from technology and engaging in some of these really grounding, beautiful practices that have stood the test of time. If you are younger than, we'll say, 30, you grew up in a time where technology was in your face from moment one of your life. And it can feel really daunting, scary, uncomfortable to even consider not having your phone near you or in your hand at all times, especially for those of you that have grown up in this particular way of living. And as a child of the 80s who grew up with literally no tech in front of me, I didn't get my first cell phone until my junior year of high school. There was just such a different way of operating and behaving. And on different projects that I'm working on, I'm just continually being reminded of how things used to be and how things are now, and the way in which our bodies and mainly our minds and our souls are reacting to just the constant encumberment of technology. It's just a part of our lives that isn't going away, and that means that we need to be extra intentional with our disconnection and making a ritual about it. So I wanted this episode to be ways in which I like to disengage from technology and engage in the ethereal, in the real, in the textual, in nature, in God, in myself. So let's start with my first favorite ritual. It is the dawn greeting ritual. I begin each day by watching the sunrise, and typically most days, depending on what time of year it is, I am rising when the sun is coming up. In the winter, of course, as it is right now, it's very dark. So this ritual doesn't really get to happen for me until a few hours later into my day. But I do make it a point every day to look for the sunrise as well as looking for the sunset, which we'll get into later. By watching the sunrise, your body is not only beginning to fire and wire different things that are turning on hormones for the day because of you seeing this light, this interaction between your eye, which is part of your brain, and is very important. But it acknowledges that you're starting a new cycle. You're starting a new day ahead. So it's really important to give yourself that opportunity. It really doesn't take more than a few moments. You can look at it. At the easiest of it all, you can just be happy that it rose today and that you got to look at it and that it's beautiful. But outside of that, you could take it a little deeper. I like to practice a few moments of mindful breathing, and that's really just me taking in some deep, powerful breaths and letting them out to just let out any leftover anxiety or any weird energy that I woke up with. And I do this while facing the light, which for me is at the opposite end of my house that I wake up in. Or I can look out the window at the marsh and see a bit of light, but I'll typically move to another part of the house. I also like to offer gratitude. So typically, I'm thanking God for the fact that I woke up today. I'm thanking God for the fact that my husband woke up today, that my dog and cat woke up today, that my mother woke up today. And I can assume that most of the other people that I care about and love in my life also woke up today. So I thank God for that first and foremost. Secondly, I'm thanking, the universe for just the beauty that is in front of my eyeballs. I live on a nature preserve. I'm very blessed too. We get to see nature and all the creatures that live on it every day. And I just take that all in, and often it makes me cry pretty much every day because I'm so thankful for just getting to be a part of this ecosystem and get to watch life in motion constantly. Seeing nature and animals do their thing can really take you out of the grips of technology fast, especially when you start to notice the little idiosyncrasies of certain animals and little traits that they have and their little characteristics that they encompass. Like such a range of emotion within animals. Same for plants, trees, bushes, grass, like rock formations. There's so much you can look at: the ocean, the water, sand. It's just outrageous the amount of things you could focus on and get to know that will take you away from your cell phone. So this is all wrapped up in my gratitude because I love nature so much. I'm an earth sign. It just makes sense for me. If you can, and if the weather permits, standing barefoot on the earth to ground yourself every morning when you're looking at the sunlight would be ideal. That would be like, whoa, you're really getting off to a magical start, my friend. So that is the dawn greeting ritual. Super simple. And most of these they're not going to take too much out of you. And I don't want them to take too much out of you. And I know for me to be able to do them, they have to be damn near nothing. Okay. Buckle up here. We're all doing this together, and it's not a lot, but you do really get to love it. You do really get to enjoy it. The second ritual is a sacred water connection. My God, does my ass love some water. I could be in a shower for 42 hours. I could sit in a tub for 42 hours. I could sit in warm water for forever. Cold water, I respect very deeply, but not entirely my cup of tea. But I do see the privilege of having access to ice cold water at certain times of the year. And I know that means I have to be just as equally thankful for the ice cold water in the times of year where I don't really care to interact with it. So it's a yin and yang, my friend. We got to give and get here. But creating an intentional sounds like intentional and sensual, not sensual. Creating an intentional morning cleansing ritual beyond just regular washing of your body or your teeth or your face or your hands, right? Using water as a symbolic medium of releasing negative emotions back out into the universe and away from you is a really beautiful way to start the day, especially if you find yourself in a place where you're not really liking the mood you're currently in. This was a big one for me. I would go into the shower. I would let my body just register. I love hot water. Like my husband calls it like my dragon bath. Like I love a piping hot shower. If I'm not beet red when I get out, I didn't do it right. So a hot ass shower, feeling the water hit my body. First, I thank the water for just the warmth and the comfort that it's providing my soul as I feel it. That's like first and foremost. I talk to the water a lot. Water holds everything. It's the oldest thing on the planet. It's been floating around the universe for who knows how long. It is sacred. Treat every drop of water you encounter, treat every drop of liquid you encounter as something made of the like literal essence of the world, of the universe. It's insane. Like we should really respect the water. So I'm using the water absolutely as a medium of a ritual. I will just kind of twirl my body around in it and just let my body feel the beads of it just like hitting. And I do allow it to just wash away any emotions that I have that I don't want when I find myself in that space. If I find myself in a wonderful space, I am reveling in the joy of what it feels like, the heat of the water, the steam in the room, the just time that I get to feel like I'm a child just playing in the water. And it is such a ancestral joy that we get to experience in the same, not quite the same manner because we have like indoor plumbing and hot water and such, but just the joy of feeling water on your skin, something that we are supposed to come in contact with and enjoy daily. So offering up and expressing your gratitude within the shower is a beautiful way to do it. And I think it's going to also kind of break up the mundaneness that a shower has become for us, right? Or a bath. We're just going through the motions of what we need to do. Wash your hair, shave your legs, blah, blah, blah. But instead, being present for every moment of that shower by thanking the water, feeling the water, engaging while you're doing the things you need to do while you're in there is a really great way to like kick it up several notches, especially for your soul and your mindset. I also started a few years ago, my husband and I just started thanking our water and blessing it before we drink it and putting good thought and love into it and like asking it to heal our body or cleanse our body or give our body love. It's a really fun one. It's super simple to do. You can even whisper it to your cup of water before you drink it. But it is something that takes you out of where you're at, especially if you're bogged down with technology at your desk and you just can't get away and you need that moment to disconnect. The blessing and sipping of a glass of water is lovely. Not only that, it does feel like a mini escape because it is so odd of a thing to do compared to like the normal way that like we all robot live our life, that it really just take you out of the work atmosphere for just a second. And you get to remind yourself that there are bigger things happening in the world beyond your job and what you need to do with your life. And it's through something as beautiful as water, something we are very blessed to have the privilege of drinking, let alone it being beautiful, clean, healthy, somewhat cold water. The final thing is connecting with natural water sources whenever possible. If you don't live near the beach, maybe that's you planning to get to a lake and just look at it. It's really great for you to physically look at a vast body of water. It does such amazing things for your autonomic nervous system, and it really does calm your brain in a way that is somewhat replicating what meditation does for you. So, if you can get to look at any large bodies of water, lakes, rivers, oceans, bays, do it. Marshes, even anywhere where you get to just see this striking atmosphere that's just like not what you're typically dealing with at your present moment. So, if that relegates you to looking out the window at a fountain that's down on the property of the business where you work, then you look at that fountain and you engage with that fountain as much as you can throughout the day to give yourself that break from technology. The third sacred ritual that I like to impart is called the sacred space creation. So within this ritual, you are not only designating and cleansing a specific area of your home or maybe your office or maybe even your car if that's the only place you can retreat to when you need to get that break from tech, but it's going to build a very simple, natural, we'll call it an altar of sorts in your life that's going to give you a place to go to when you need to find that support and you need to find that escape from tech. I have always enjoyed a good altar. I've had them in every property I've ever lived in my life. But when I grew up, during my childhood rather, my altar was always outside. It was just nature. And it would maybe be a favorite like piece of driftwood I found on the beach that I would keep in the yard somewhere, and then some favorite shells that I had, and maybe like a seagull feather or a crab shell. Like I would have a little collection of things that I would go to when I needed, man, little nature baby I was, when I needed to feel grounded, to feel safe. That was the space that I would go to within my yard. And designating a place for your spiritual practice or a place for escape when you need it can be something as simple as just using anything natural that you find outside and bringing it inside. So maybe it's a cool stone you found on your walk or on the beach, or, maybe it is a really beautiful piece of dried wood you found in the forest, or maybe a really beautiful bird feather, or, a really cool leaf that was, on the trail, like going to school that day, like whatever it may be. Bringing that indoors, especially in the winters, can be a really beautiful way for you to create an altar, something that you go to, you connect with. Maybe it's something you're picking up and you're fiddling with in your hands while you're thinking about something or working through something. But creating an altar and using this space for a place of daily contemplation, visualization, meditating, prayer, reading, maybe journaling. Let this be your space where you come to always feel peace and calm, or, maybe not even peace and calm if you're entering into the space in a place of turmoil and upset. But know that this space will be something that your brain will start to treat as an instant dopamine hit or an instant cortisol lowering, because while you're in this place and in the actions of doing what you routinely do there, your body knows what to expect, which is de-escalation, calming of the nerves, resetting of the mindset. It becomes easier and easier over time. So maintaining this space sanctity for yourself is just something as easy as keeping it clean, keeping it dust free. Maybe you want to move it around the room to a different vantage point, depending on the sun and the time of year it is. We know that changes. And maybe using some incense or some sage that you've responsibly sourced to kind of cleanse your space in your area is a really beautiful way to go about it. A lot of people also like placing a small cup or bowl of water near their altar, again, because of the sacred properties of water, and it's just pure ancientness. Like the word ancient doesn't even apply, like the eternity of water is a really cool way to keep your space feeling very sacred and very tied into what you're using it for. So if you are a person that enjoys candles, you're going to love the evening candlelight reflection ceremony. But I only have done this, I'll be honest, in moments of like full moon ceremonies or where I'm really like trying to pull out all the stops to manifest something that I'm going for here. But this is also something really beautiful and really peaceful that you could do with your children, your husband, your roommates, giving them the ritual of taking a break and time away from, the daily nighttime like couch rot to really be intentional about their thoughts and feelings before they go to sleep and kind of set themselves up for a great day the next day. So this starts with lighting a candle at sunset to kind of mark the transition from day to night, which is kind of what we're doing by looking at the sun first thing in the morning to acknowledge we're starting a new day. So this is kind of acknowledging that you're not only transitioning to the end of the day, but that the day is coming to an end. Typically, I would get down to writing something that I observed or thought of or had a breakthrough on during the day, or maybe it's something I was grateful for that happened, or even something that I was sad about that happened, if that's kind of something that I want to process and work through. So taking a few moments to write down your notes, your observations about the day, things you went through, maybe even wins or, moments of love and gratitude that you had, anything like that. Really, whatever mood you're in, you should reflect within these moments down in your journal or on a piece of scrap paper. Really, you just want to get it out and physically write it down. There's a lot of power in the removal of the brain with the writing. Then I would typically practice 5 to 10 minutes of just quiet mindfulness. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's visualization. Maybe now I'm just looking out to the bay where the candle is lit in the window and just like kind of zoning out. But give yourself this 10 minutes of reflection time. Give yourself this moment to disconnect, because this is really going to be where a lot of your hormones and your brain and your soul all commencing to just de-escalate, bring things down, process the day, get ready for rest, prepare for the bliss that is sleep. And then finally, you can close with a prayer or set an intention for peaceful rest and just let your body know that you're supporting it in all ways you can by calming down and bringing down the energy and the hype of where you currently find yourself at. Hi, Sophie. No. All right, I'm almost done. She said no, guys. I tried. All right, the fifth ritual that I want you to think about setting for yourself, and this one's really going to be fun and like more enjoyable activity than a ritual, but weekly nature communion. Spending 1 hour in nature without any technological devices, okay? And if you're one of those people like me that's like, no, I need my camera, put it in airplane mode. Turn off the Wi-Fi. Stop feeling all of the tech energy buzzing into your brain. Or get a camera. Cameras are way more fun to use in the spirit of just capturing for a photo anyhow. Then you have no use for your cell phone if you have a camera. So take a camera. You can find yourself collecting natural objects on your walk. I am absolutely always picking up a rock. We're always looking for something that speaks to us. Fernando and I will pick up random things for random reasons and keep them. They are purposefully strewn throughout our entire house. We've embedded nature into every bit of our home with stones from the beach that we collect, and it really does bring a grounding presence to your space. You can also practice mindful walking, which is kind of like meditative walking. You can do this by observing sensations that come up. You can do this by taking note of the noises you hear around you. Maybe you're on a beach and you hear a seagull. Then you hear the waves lapping at the sand, and then you hear your feet flicking sand in front of you. Maybe it's windy enough that the cattails at the edge of the marsh are cracking and smacking into each other. Like just being observant of what you hear and how your senses are engaging, what the cool wind feels like on your cheek, and that you're happy to be alive to feel coolness on your cheek. Taking it as a way to bolster your gratitude with your observations, to be thankful to God that you get to see these things and experience them and feel them, all the while de-stressing and disconnecting from technology. It's beautiful. It will take you over. The hour will go like that. You may even find yourself wanting to stay out there longer. Another thing that people enjoy doing, aka me, is creating nature-based art and offerings as forms of worship. In the summertime especially, my husband and I would find ourselves sitting on a large piece of driftwood towards the end of our kind of private beach and find ourselves playing in the sand and like making shapes out of little bits of driftwood and like sand castles and just like engaging with nature and touching it, moving it around. Maybe we're not even making it into a shape of any kind or doing any kind of art with it, but we're observing it. We're looking at it. We're acknowledging it exists in this huge world on this random walk we took and this random log we decided to sit on. And then now we're hands, elbows on our knees, looking down at our feet, digging around at what just happens to be there. It's like the serendipitousness of life is only available to you when you're paying attention and you're interacting with it. And the beauty of just creation around every corner popping up in front of your face is, again, only available to you when you're looking for it and when you're available for it. A lot is lost when we are continually looking down like this, namely our connection to our nature, our humanity with others and interacting. And if you find yourself really aching for these things, you may want to take some of these rituals into consideration for integrating them into your life and what you're doing every day. Now, I want to kind of present you here with a little prompt before we go. And I hope this is something that will help you to kind of create your own ritual that fits the perfectness of the moment you're looking for. So if you will indulge me, if you're in a place where you're able to close your eyes, please do. But if you find yourself at work or driving or operating heavy machinery and you need your peepers open, I understand, but just let's get deep with thinking about this here. So if you can, close your eyes. If not, I got you. So I want you to take a moment to think about the last time you felt truly present, peaceful, and connected. And whether that was to nature, to God, or to your own soul, your own spirit. So think about that moment. What were you doing in that moment? And was there anything in particular that you think made that moment feel more sacred rather than ordinary? So you may have some things coming to mind. For me, it is absolutely the nature walks. But I already talked about that. So we'll switch to something else. And this is going to be a little indulgent, but I'm a Taurus and I'm an earth sign, so it checks. I will find myself in a moment where I'm out to dinner with my husband. We're at a restaurant that we can both eat from because we've got allergies. We're wearing outfits we love. We're feeling abundant. We're feeling blessed. We're taking a bite of food we enjoy. It's hitting my palate. My taste buds are enveloping my senses. I begin to feel the corners of my mouth peeling upwards towards my eyes. And I am smiling so hard my dimples are out because this is the most exquisite bite of food I've had in such a long time, while staring at my beautiful husband who will love me for as long as eternity is eternity. His handsome face, seeing others around us enjoying the moment of life, being out, and it just feeling right. It just feeling like why we live life. And I'm sure you have these moments in your life. So how do I recreate that ritual? For me, it's a matter of just absolute love pouring over my body. So whether I need to think about those moments, the moments in my life that fill up my love cup, it's those moments. But maybe for you, it's when you're running with your running group, or maybe by yourself in the morning or after work. Or it could be when you find yourself helping your children with their homework and you're seeing the progress they're making and it's starting to really click for them and they're understanding and their learning is evolving and they're picking up harder and harder and harder concepts. And you find yourself not only enjoying homework time now, but being so present in the moment of watching them physically grow and evolve in front of your very eyes that you are crying. And your kids are weirded out. And they're like, Mom, we're talking about math right now. Why are you crying? And you just remember why you chose to have children. It was for these moments. Think about the moments that take you out of your life, out of what you're doing, the ordinary, mundane, day-to-day, like wiring of our brain. What takes you out of that? Think of that moment. And now think about how you can begin to intentionally create more of these moments in your daily life. So what one small ritual, you guys can open your eyes now, sorry. What one small ritual, even just 5 minutes, that you could begin doing today, like at the end of this episode, that's going to help you reconnect with that same sense of presence and peace and spirituality? What would it be? It can be so small. Maybe it's you just really being mindful of enjoying every sip of your tea or coffee on your break. Maybe it's you recognizing that you've had enough of Netflix and you turn off the TV and you pull out a book, or you pull out a board game and you and your husband get a board game on and have some just time together to talk and connect and relax and be cuddly and just enjoy each other. Enjoy each other for each other, and not enjoy each other because you're sitting next to one another while watching a program that isn't your real life. And something you won't remember on your deathbed, by the way. But these moments you're injecting into your day to day, you may remember, because they may create an impact that leads to a landslide of change that brings you the life you're truly looking for. One filled with more peace, one less connected to tech, one more enriched in real life moments that make you feel whole and complete, rather than moments of detachment that bring you angst, suffering, and pain. I hope this episode was helpful. I hope it was fun for you. I've been elevating and working on changing my rituals to accommodate for this place at life that I'm at now. And I thought it would be a fun episode for us to have together and just figure out how we're going to be evolving our rituals in the future. So if this episode touched any part of you and you're like, I am on it, I'm going to be creating some rituals, it would really mean a lot to me if we could start a conversation about sacred rituals together. I would love to know and hear about what practice you're going to be implementing into your day-to-day life. And if you feel so inclined, it would be wonderful for you to leave what ritual you feel as though you're going to begin in the show notes, whether it's on YouTube or on Spotify. You can always leave a comment on the episode. And you can always feel free to email me. My email is in the actual show notes. Or if DMs are more your thing, you can find my link for Instagram as well, and you can DM me there. If you are just beginning to start creating and exploring what rituals can look like in your life, please come join in the conversation over in these spaces. Sometimes the most beautiful practices are born from sharing and learning from one another, like we did today. And I read absolutely every comment. I listen to everything that you're sending me and saying, and it means so much. I truly can't even fathom the fact that like strangers are commenting on my page and just really liking what I'm doing. It means a lot to me. This podcast comes from my true soul. My husband and I work so hard on it, and it absolutely means so much to me to not only have you enjoy the stories that we share here with our guests and on Sunday strategy sessions, but for you to share your stories with me. And I think it's good to remember that your story and your ritual that you want to share in the comments might be what someone is exactly looking to hear. Maybe they're just reading the comments and they read yours and they're like, oh, that's perfectly me. Like, this is just what I needed. So please don't feel shy. Even if it's something you think is silly, nothing is silly. We're all unique and beautiful and different. And there is so much out there for all of us to be engaging with together. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what your new rituals are going to be. It means the world to me for you to tune in 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. I thank you so much for your attention. And as always, make life rich.